Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I am so glad to see each and every one of you on tonight. Welcome to Love Still Matters After the Vows. And I'm Stacy.
And I'm Ray.
And we are the Lovebirds. So why do we say Lovebirds? We are the Lovebirds because that is a nickname that we have taken upon ourselves since our last name is Birdsong. And so we are the Lovebirds, and so we are going to start addressing it on our show here. And so I just want to make sure that everyone is able to hear us well and that everyone is able to see us well. And so on this lovely Sunday evening, I'm just glad to be able to be here with each and every one of you. So if you can hear me, if you can just send me a comment that you can hear, because I always try to follow on my phone. And unfortunately, my phone is not showing us up tonight. But you know what? That's okay. Because what I found out is that a lot of my friends and a lot of our viewers, right, they watched the playback. And I hope that you enjoyed it as you watched the playback last week. So last week, we talked about dating. On episode 2, we talked about dating and doing something special with your spouse, your significant other.
Like a date night.
And so it's crazy because people were sending messages to our inbox about different dates that they went on and different things that they planned even for the weekend, such as walks and hikes and different restaurants. And so that's our purpose here. Our purpose is to make sure that couples are reuniting, right? Reuniting, bringing back the love. And so earlier in my little clip, I said, what's love got to do with it? Well, love has a lot to do with it. Love has a lot to do with marriage. And so our show is based off of the marriage vows and different sections of the marriage vows and the vows that we take and how important the vows are after marriage, right? And so we find that in our marriage enrichment 101 that we do with couples is that we see that people are not being committed to what they vowed to be committed to when they got married. Right. And so we are just here to talk about some of these things, to address some of these things and bring awareness to some of these things. And so tonight we're going to talk about in sickness and in health. It's very important in sickness and in health. And so our discussion tonight is going to talk a little bit about if you should get sick, to prevent sickness, what should we do? And so tonight we want to talk about the big word, right? The big word, vaccination. We want to talk about vaccination. We want to talk about the COVID-19 vaccination because it is a very hard decision for couples to make. It's a very hard decision for individuals themselves to make. And so we want to talk about it. We want to talk about it.
We want to hear the pros and the cons.
So I've been seeing on Facebook that people have been getting vaccinated. People have been taking the shot, dose 1, dose 2, some taking Moderna, some taking Pfizer, some taking the Johnson & Johnson. And I actually spoke with a couple that was really in conflict about taking the shot, where the wife wanted to take the shot, but the husband didn't want to take the shot. And so I want to talk about decision-making as a couple. It is important to make decisions as a couple, not make decisions by yourself, right? Because the two shall become one, right? So when you take your vows on, the wife takes on the man's name and the two become Mr. and Mrs. The two of them shall become one. That's what the good book says. The good book talks about that. So I'm like, you, honey, go ahead.
You become one unit. You become a team now. No more two separate entities, but one entity coming together. And even in this modern day and age, where couples get married and they hyphenate the wife's name to be carried on her legacy, that's important. It is. Because, as I said, it's a team effort. It's a team effort. She was a Harris before she became a Birdsong. If I were to, God forbid, take me out of here tonight, she would be a Harris regardless, but she would be a Harris Birdsong. So that keeping that name legacy is also important too. But you are a team, regardless of what the name is. You are a team.
So, I'm still struggling here because I do not see any comments. I can't see any viewers. I do not know why. I don't know what is going on, and I cannot even find it on my phone. But it's okay. It's okay. And so we want to talk about our experience with the COVID shot and why we came to the decision of taking the shot. The two of us together. And so, as many of you know, many of you may know our journey, and many of you may not know our journey. But my husband is a dialysis end stage renal failure patient. And we are looking for the praise report that God is going to heal his body. So, let me just insert that little plug right there. That we are totally awaiting a healing in his body. And so, awaiting the healing in my husband's body, we must be proactive and take proactive measures in regards to him staying healthy, him being healthy around others, him being healthy around his family, and his family being healthy around him. So, for a whole year, we have really not gone too many places. I do go to work, and I'm very protective about what I do at work, who I'm with at work, and things of that nature. And so, oh, thank you, Cherie. I see your comment. Thank you. And so we're very proactive about that. And so I am a person who always believes in holistic medicine. I believe in holistic medicine. I'll whip up something quickly and put it together if someone's feeling sick or ill, because that's what my grandmother did. That's what she did. And so I followed in those footsteps. And so I believe in everything, right? Elderberry syrup, sea moss, dandelion weed, you name it, I believe in it. I'll whip it up, and I will definitely make it a little concoction so that we can take it and move on. Okay. So I will never forget the day that my husband's doctor said to us on a clinic visit over telehealth on the computer. And he said, Stacy, I know what you're going to say, but please hear me out. Hear me out before you make your decision. Okay. And so I said, oh, absolutely, Dr. Landry. I'm willing to hear you out. What do you want to talk about? So he said, I want to talk to you about the importance of the vaccination. My whole face, like almost just gave it away. Like I had an instant attitude. And so my whole posture, my demeanor, everything changed. I was like, from that happy, jovial person that I am to automatically. So that was it. He's like, are you okay? I was like, mm-hmm. Oh, mm-hmm. And so he went on to ask me, he said, Stacey, I'm just going to start out with you because, I know how you are. Have you and Ray, not have Ray and Stacey, have you and Ray thought about the vaccination and taking the vaccination? But here's my reasons why. Stacey. He's like, I've taken the vaccination. My wife has taken the vaccination, and we're both doctors. And he went on to explain the shot that he took. I believe it was Moderna as well.
His wife got the Pfizer.
His wife. Oh, his wife got the Pfizer. That's right.
Got the Pfizer. Yeah, they both got different brands, but they both got the shot.
Okay, so they both got different brands, but they both were able to get the shot. So he talked about it. And so I will never forget, I was at work, I was sitting at my desk, and I'm saying to myself, listen, we not taking no shot. We Christians, we gonna believe in Jesus. We gonna continue to do what we've been doing, and we not taking no shot. Okay, point blank, period. And so he went on to explain, the benefits of the shot, the benefits of keeping Ray safe, the benefits of his health if he was to receive the COVID, to get the COVID-19 vaccination. Or no, I'm talking about if you were to contract COVID.
Contracted, yeah.
Right. So he was talking about all of those things. And so the more he talked, I still listened. I had my posture. I was ready. What? So I told him, well, you know what? My favorite line, we're going to pray about it. We're going to pray about it, and we're going to get back to you about it. Okay. That's where we're just going to end this. Anyway, let's just talk about my husband's visit and what's going on with him. So that's how we ended that note. And so we actually prayed about it. We actually prayed about it. Um, and so do you want to share a little bit, honey, before I talk about when we prayed about it?
Well, I thought I'm the scientific person in the house. I watch the news programs. I listen to the scientists. I listen to Dr. Fauci and those guys. I've been watching ever since this COVID hit. And my thing is my take on the vaccine was I want to be safe because I have not just kids, but I have a wife. I have grandkids. I want to have longevity.
Good point.
I don't want to one day drive my wife to the grocery store, even though I got mask on and a face shield and all that good stuff. She wraps me up in every time we go out to the store. And somehow somebody, I contracted from somebody. And then too, my daughter's young. She's dating, and her little friend comes by here. And even though I'm not in proximity to them, he's still in the house. And so just to err on the side of caution, I said, I want to get the shot. I'll take the shot.
That was after the prayer.
Yeah, after the prayer.
And so we prayed about the vaccination. And I am a faithful believer. I am a strong believer in the Lord. And I believe in the blood still works, right? That we are healed by our faith, according to our faith, and that He will make us whole. We don't need all of this extra vaccination and all that stuff. And so me and the Lord have these conversations, and He was like, brought back to my memory. I'm not sure if you ever heard the joke about the man who was stranded, and they sent a boat for him. They sent a ship for him, and then they sent a helicopter for him, and then he died. And when he went to heaven, he asked the Lord, "Why didn't you come save me? I was waiting for you to come save me. I was calling on you. I believed in you. I trusted you. Why didn't you come save me?" And He said to him, "I sent a boat, I sent a ship, and I sent a helicopter." And so that's when I spoke with my husband about it. And I said, you know what? Sometimes we as Christians take things out of context, right? Because the Lord sends help for us, but we don't take the help. We don't take the help. And so I am not saying what my belief should be imposed on you, and that you have to take the shot because of what we are saying. We are just bringing an awareness. And I want to say, shame on those who shame people for taking the shot, and shame on those who shame people for not taking the shot, because you don't know what it took for someone to be able to make that decision to take that shot. Okay, it takes a lot for people to come to that decision, to arrive to, I want to take the vaccination. Okay.
And I understand we all have freedom of choice. This is America. You have a freedom of choice. But because you got to understand how your choice would impact somebody else. And a lot of folks don't think like that. A lot of folks just say, you're violating my constitutional rights. I don't want to take it. I'm not going to take it. Well, that's well and good. It's just like the mask mandate. Oh, I don't want to wear a mask. You can't make me wear a mask. I don't think it's right that you tell me I got to have a mask to come in this store. Yes, I do. It's my store, and I have a right to decide who I want to serve and the way I want to serve them. And so it's a two-way street. And what we're saying here, because you are a team, because you are a couple, even if you're just engaged or you're dating, you're a couple. It's still a team effort. And these are things that should be discussed. Even if you're not in agreement, at least put it on the table so the other person can understand your reason why you won't. And you're not just being obstinate or being honoring.
So I want to shout out the people who actually couples that mentioned that they took the shot. So I see Cherie King mentioned that she took the shot. I see that Diane and her husband Earl took the shot. And I just want to say congratulations to you as a couple, coming and making that decision, that they should take the shot. Okay. And so again, I am not in no way, I am no way saying to those who didn't take the shot, you know what, shame on you. No, because it was a hard decision for me to be able to make that shot. And let me just be clear that the reason I took the shot was because of my husband's health, right? And because of my mother and because of my sister. My sister has autism and she's nonverbal and she has seizures. And so there were
my daughter
many,
has
and
autism.
my daughter as well. Thank you, hon. Many complex reasons as to why I took the shot. Right. And so I'm not saying to anyone that you have to. It's a choice that every single couple has to come to together. Come to together. Right. And so I'm listen, even though we took the shot, I'm gonna be proactive and I'm gonna be vigilant about the places that I go, right? Because people do not care about you and your husband, you and your wife, you and your children, you and your family. They don't care. They don't care. People will come up to my husband and I, and they'll be talking. They'll pull the mask. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, back up. I can hear you with the mask on. You don't need to take the mask down. Okay. People want to come and give me hugs. People want to come and give me kisses. You listen, in the Black culture, right? When we go around family, listen, we spend 30 minutes arriving, just giving hugs, and we spend 30 minutes leaving, giving hugs, right? And so we have to be careful. We have to be careful. And so make the choice together as a unit. As a unit. Do not let these situations, problems, even this vaccination separate you and divide you and cause turmoil in your home. Yes. Right? Cause turmoil in your home, because that's exactly what's happening with some couples. I had to, like I said, talk to this couple and talk to the two of them about the shot. And I said, I'm not saying that you are wrong and I'm not saying that you are right, but I'm saying that you must arrive at a decision together as husband and wife. As husband and wife. And so some would even say that, well, he's the head, he's the man, and he needs to make the decision. Well, baby, the Lord is working with me on submission.
That's a subject we have to discuss another time.
We will. It'll be a more than a half-hour show. I'm sure it will probably be maybe a whole hour and a half. But God is working on me. He's working on me. I'm being honest. He's working on me. I'm trying to be that wife. I'm trying to get there 25 years later, right? I'm trying to get there. Y'all heard me say, I'm being honest. Y'all heard me say that I had my pastor take that obey out of the vows. I had him take it out. And then 25 years later, the Lord dealt with me about me taking it out. But I'm a work in progress. I'm not what I used to be. Thank God I'm not what I used to be. And so we are just trying to help couples out. And so I want to say to those couples that are struggling with making that decision together, you have to think of what's best for your family. Mm-hmm. What's best for your family? Because I have seen it in many marriages where one of the individuals becomes sick and the other one vanishes. But when we stood there in front of our preacher, so in love, we were in love, right? Looking at each other's eyes, we were in love. I to have and to hold in sickness and in health, till death do us part. I do. But when the sickness really came upon them, it was a burden to one of them. And one of them left the marriage. I've seen when people are sick, I've seen that people have went outside of the marriage. Mm-hmm. And so I want to share this story that I spoke with someone about. I won't reveal their name and I won't reveal their situation. But he was talking about having a particular procedure done, and how his wife talked about, you know, she wasn't coming to that hospital. She wasn't coming to the hospital. I believe he's getting his foot done. His foot. I think it was his foot. Um, and so the Lord has crazy people come up to me in the store, and we'll just start having conversations, right? Or people will message me and inbox, and we'll have these conversations. And so this was one of these particular conversations. And so he said, I really don't want to be married. Oh, they were dating. Excuse me. They were dating. Yes, they were dating. He said, I don't really want to be married to a woman who's not going to take care of me when I'm sick. I don't want to be married to her. He's like, we're engaged. What should I do? I said, well, I'm glad that you're bringing this to your awareness now, because what's going to happen if you become permanently ill, right? Because we're one accident away from being disabled. We are all one accident away from being disabled, right? And so what's going to happen when your spouse becomes sick or your spouse becomes ill and you cannot take care of them? These are things that you should talk about in premarital counseling. Don't just run to the justice of the peace. Don't do it. Don't run to the justice of the peace, because you need to sit down and talk with somebody about counseling so that they can bring out some issues that you may potentially be involved in when you get married. Honey, do you want to share before I move on?
I just want to say, and she's right about that. That's part of the communication process. Excuse me, as a couple. These are things that need to be talked about, because there's an old proverb that says, to be forewarned is to be foretold. And so you want to kind of cover the bases. That's like saying, let's talk about divorce before we get married. Most couples don't want to, see, now you're talking about getting rid of me. It ain't that. Let's talk about the possibility if it ever gets to that. What are we going to do? What are you going to do? A lot of couples don't have that conversation. Just like we as people of color, we don't have that conversation about death. And that's another topic. But these are things we must communicate to the person we're attached to. This is the person who I claim I want you in my life. I want you to share with me, not just the good times, but I want you to share the bad times. And just like I want you to share the good times with me, I want to share the good times with you. And I want to be there when you're in your bad moments. Because there's nothing more depressing and more demoralizing than you as a person laying up in a hospital and your significant other act like you ain't even there. I know this nurse, excuse me, and she was saying, I don't understand what's going on with these Black sisters. We got these young men, 30, 40 years old, up here in the hospital, in the ICU, had good jobs, but ain't nobody coming to visit them. Ain't nobody coming to sit up here and talk to them. And most of them, she said, well, if they die, they're going to die by themselves. Nobody's there. And this is before pre-COVID. And I understand nobody wants to see their loved one suffering. Nobody wants to see their loved one laid up in the hospital. But we got to, as my grandmother used to say, baby, you got to take the bitter with the sweet. So this is stuff that's important in communications and relationships. The what ifs. We don't ever talk about the what ifs.
So true. And so I just want to share, because we are coming up to our 9 o'clock hour, but I just want to share that, listen, I have battled with hospitals about being able to stay with my husband when he has been admitted into the hospital. I'm talking about calling those at the top of the hospital.
Administrator.
Yes, I call the head nurse. I call the president of the hospital. I call everybody. Listen, those people think that I am crazy when I tell you I'm not playing these games, because let me share why. One time my husband was in the hospital. We were in the emergency room, and they had given him, I guess, some heparin or a blood thinner. And so they're supposed to give it, I guess, every other hour or every hour. I forgot how it was when he was in the hospital, what the order was. And so we went from the ER to his floor, and they had just given him the shot of the blood thinner before he left the ER. And so when we got up to the room, she's going through and she's like, excuse me, can you wait outside in the hallway? I have to do my workup. I said, oh no, honey, I cannot wait outside in the hallway. I can't. He's my husband. And whatever you're going to be doing in here, you're doing together with the both of us. So I'm going to stand right here while you do what you need to do. And I'll be quiet. Maybe. That's just exactly what I said. And so she gets this needle and she's preparing and she's wiping the vial off and she's giving, I said, excuse me, what's that, sweetheart? And so she says, this is a blood thinner. She gave the name, heparin. This is a blood thinner. I said, oh no, he already took that. She said, oh no, it's our order. We have to get it when they arrive on the floor. I said, okay, but you will not be giving him that dose right there. He just had one before we left the ER. And she's like, oh, well, it's not showing in the computer. Let me make some calls before I give it to him. Now, had I not been there, he would have gotten another dose of that. Could it have been fatal? Maybe not. We never know, because I was proactive. And so I just want to make sure that I, again, call out those that attended here that said that they've taken the shot. Sister Sherry Turner and her husband are getting vaccinated. Apostle Miranda has taken the shot. And I believe Cherie said her and her husband. So shout out to you guys. And to those that are still making those tough decisions, listen, pray about it. Right? Pray about it together as a couple. Pray about it as a couple. And so I just want to say that these times are not getting any easier for us. They are not getting any easier for us. It's not getting easier for those of us who are getting older. And it's certainly not getting any easier for those that are younger. I certainly would not want to be just getting married in this age, because there's so much that is going on. Some of the things that I see and hear from younger couples just blows my mind. So I just want to say to each and every one of you, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being a part of Love Still Matters After the Vows. And listen, if there's something that you would like to talk about or that you want us to discuss on the show, please reach out to us. We will be getting deeper and deeper involved and deeper in depth in our conversations as the weeks go on. We are building up. Right? We are building up to the things that we are going to be talking about, right? Because it's essential. We need to talk about marriage. We do. This is not some game that we played when we were younger. We played house, right? I'm the wife, you the husband. No, this is real time. This is real business. It really matters what you do in your marriage. These are tough times that you are going to begin to embark upon as a couple. But as long as the two of you communicate, pray, and talk to one another, that's half the battle.
Communication. That's half the battle. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Communication is the key. Seriously, communication is the key. The problem is that we find in with most couples is after the honeymoon phase, the communication stops. You got to keep talking. You got to keep sharing. Even though sometimes some of the things you don't want to share, you got to share them. Because effective and honest and open communication, it will definitely empower your love. And that's a part of why we're doing this program. We want to empower couples to have their love empowered, their love to be strong, their love to last, their love to be vibrant.
And so we are upon our 9 o'clock hour. We want to say thank you for joining us, and tune in next Sunday at 8:30 for Love Still Matters after the vows. And our closing line, the vow matters. It's not love that keeps us together. In every marriage, love may fade for a time. The vow matters because when feelings fade, the vow holds us together long enough for the love to return. God bless you.
God
See you
bless.
next
Be
week.
safe.